Okay, this is going to be part 2 of the Unit 5-6 review. On part 1, we did all of the system problems 1 through 20. So we're going to start up back on number 21. And it says simplify the following monomials. Alright, so all we're doing, since it's adding and subtracting, there's no multiplying or dividing. All we're doing here is combining like terms. And when we say combining like terms, they have to have the same variable with the same exponent. Okay? Same variable, same exponent. And all you do is add or subtract the coefficients. If they don't have a variable, if it's just a constant, then you just add or subtract them. Okay? So when we look at number 21, they both have the variable a. So all we're going to do is negative 3 plus 52 is 49a. It's kind of like I had 52 of them and then I took away 3 of them. So now I have 49 a's. Okay? On 22, you'll notice that they are all have x squared. So all we're going to do is add or subtract the coefficients. Remember, this x squared here is going to be minus 1 or negative 1. So 8 minus 1 is 7. Minus 12 would be negative 5. And then plus 2 would be negative 3. Sorry, y'all, I am doing this at home on the weekend, and there will be noises or somebody stopping me for a minute. Sorry about that. Alright, so we have negative 3, so we have negative 3x squares. They all had x squared and x squared only. If one of them had like a y with it, then we could not combine it with the others. Alright, look at 23. This one's got x squared y, but this one's got xy squared, so they're not alike. This one has x squared y, so it goes with this one. This one has xy squared, so we're going to combine it with that one. So let's do the x squared y, 16, and take the sign in front of the number. 16 and negative 5, which is the same thing as 16 minus 5, would leave us with 11 x squared y's. Okay? And then for the xy squared, remember, take the sign in front of the number. Negative 4 plus 10, which is the same thing as 10 minus 4, leaves me with positive 6 xy squared. Now these are not alike, so I cannot combine them. So this is my simplified answer. Alright, here we have some w squares. So we're going to do that first. 13 of them plus 4 more gives me 17 w squares. And then we have just simply w. So 9 minus 31, or 9 plus negative 31, is going to give you negative 22w. Okay? Alright. Okay, let's do the next page. Alright, here we're going to those exponent rules. And remember, if I have an x squared times an x to the 6. Alright, they have the same base, and we're multiplying because they're right next to each other. Okay? When you're multiplying, all you're doing is adding. Because this is like if I got x squared, that's 2x's, and then I have x to the 6. Well, it's x times x times x times x times x times x. So you're multiplying it 6 times. So if I'm multiplying those, that means altogether I have 8 of the x's. Okay? So when you're multiplying, you have the same base. You just add the exponents. Now, if I had x squared, oops, sorry, did that, put my parentheses too quick there. Okay, if I have x squared and I'm going to raise it to the 6th power. Now, if you'll notice, I only have one base, right? So this says that I'm taking x squared, which is x times x, and I'm going to multiply that x times x, I'm going to multiply that 6 times. All right? And if you look at that, when we do that, I'm going to have 12 x's. I multiplied it 12 times. So it's going to be x to the 12th power. So the rule for when you take a power and raise it to another power, you multiply. Okay? So if you're just multiplying the variables, if you're just multiplying these powers, he has an x base, he has an x base, you add. You add the exponents. But when you only have one base but two exponents, then you're going to multiply. Okay? Alright, so this one has one base, two exponents. So I'm going to multiply. So it would be x to the 8th. Alright, now the w here is fine. One base, two exponents, 6 times 3 is 18. Now what about 2? Okay, it's inside these parentheses, and it's also being raised to the 6th power. So when you put 2 to the 6th power in your calculator, you should get 64. Or if you multiply 2 6 times, you'll get 64. Okay, you treat constants the same way as normal. Okay, these bigger ones, they're not exponents, those are constants. Alright, on number 27, let's do inside the parentheses first. Alright, so let's go ahead and put our 1/2 back over here. And we're going to say 4, it's a constant, but we're still raising it to the 2nd power. So 4 squared is 16. And then we got the base of k to the 5th power raised to the 2nd. So I got one base, two exponents. So that means I multiply it. Alright, so now I'm going to take half of that. It's just half of your constant. It's not half of your exponent, okay? Alright, so it would be 8k to the 10th. Alright, number 28. Here we're going to multiply these two powers, alright? So what we want to do first is do this part. Okay, so one base, two exponents, power to a power. So that's going to be m to the 5 times 7 is 35. And then the n, so different base, to the 3rd to the 7th. One base, two exponents, 3 times 7 is 21. Alright, now bring down our multiplication. Let's do this one. Alright, my constant 2, that's a regular number. So 2 to the 4th power, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16. And then I have x base with a power to a power. So 9 times 4 is 36. And then I have y, one base, power to a power, 5 times 4 is 20. Okay? Now, it says to multiply this. These are all different variables, right? So when we multiply it, all we're going to get is 16. And we're going to put in alphabetical order. M to the 35th, N 21, X 36, and Y 20. And that would be our answer. Okay. Alright, now this one, these are powers and we're going to multiply all of them. All right, so I'm going to multiply the first two. Now, these are constants, so you multiply them like you normally have since elementary school. Since middle school. 2 times -3 is -6. All right, and then x times x squared. Don't forget the invisible 1 exponent. All right, so he has a base, he has a base, so that means we add the exponents. 1 plus 2 is 3. But what did I not do? Skeet, skeet, back up, Miss Lane. What did I not do? Can you see it? Can you see what I did not do? If you'll notice, I erased that 16. Okay. All right, the 16 meant that I was going 2 squared. So 2 times 2 is 4. Then x to the first squared. This is base to 2 exponents, a 1 and a 2. So we get x squared. And then y to the invisible 1 squared is y squared. All right, we didn't do that power first. Now I'm going to multiply this with that. Made a difference, didn't it? All right, so 4 times -3 is -12. X squared times x squared. They both have the base of x, so we're adding the exponents. And then y squared, there's not a y over here, so I write it down. It doesn't go away, I just write it down. All right, so now I'm going to multiply it with that last 4y squared. So -12 times 4 is -48. X to the 4th, I don't have any other x's, so I just write it down. Y squared times y squared. Same base, 2 bases, 2 exponents, add them. Okay. All right, and let's look at 30. All right, so we want to do these outside powers before we multiply the 2. All right, so 2 to the 3rd power would be 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. X to the 3rd. 1 base, 2 exponents, multiply. 1 base, 2 exponents, y to the 6th, and z to the 6th. Okay. And then we're going to do this one. Remember, z has a visible 1. So that one is going to be x to the 8th and z to the 4th. 1 base, 2 exponents. Means you multiply. All right, now we're multiplying the powers. So there's a big constant 1 understood there. So 8 times 1 is 8. And x's, I have a 1 here and I have 1 here. So we're going to add our exponents. 9 plus 8 is 17. The y's, I don't have 1 on the right side, so I just bring it over and write it down. And then z, a base here, add my exponents. 6 plus 4 is 10. So this would be my final answer. Okay. And I'm going to do this part first. So -3 times, well, I can do this too. -3 times 2 is -6. You say, well, does it matter about order? When I'm multiplying, order doesn't matter. Remember that commutative property? All right. When you're adding or multiplying, order doesn't matter. All right, now this one is going to be 4 squared is 16. X to the 5th squared is 10. And y to the 1st squared is y squared. Now I'm going to multiply. Okay. Negative 6 times 16 is negative 96. X to the 4th times x to the 10th. We're adding our exponents. And then y squared. Just write it down. So that would be your answer. We jump down to 30. Yeah, well, let's do this one. 32. Dividing. The rule is to subtract. Alright? Subtract the little exponent from the big exponent. Okay, so 4, you got k's and k's, same base. So bring this up, minus 2, and you get 4 minus 2 is 2. This is gone. Now, another way to look at that is k to the 4th means that I've got 4 k's on top, and then on the bottom, k squared, I've got 2 k's in my denominator. This cancels, it leaves me 2 on top. So you could skip this step of subtracting if it's just a straight problem like that, and just say I got more on top. 4 minus 2 is 2, leaves me 2 on top. Okay, either way, whatever works for you. Alright, dividing. I always go ahead and put the fraction bar or division bar. 8 divided by 4. 4 will go into 8. I can't say 8 into 4. That won't work. It's always the bottom into the top. Okay? 8 divided by 4 is 2. And the 2 always goes on top. Goes where the bigger number is. Let me put it that way. X's. I got 5 on top, 2 on the bottom. 5 minus 2 is 3. I had 3 left over on top. The Y's. 4 minus 2. And leaves me y squared. So there's nothing left on bottom. So that would be your answer. Alright, this one we've got to do a little bit of power to power first. So we're going to have negative 2 squared. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. If you're using your calculator, remember you have to put parentheses around a negative if you're squaring it. But if you're squaring it, a negative times a negative is positive, so why even bother with the negative sign if you're squaring the negative? Because it's always going to be positive. Alright, an m to the 4th squared. Multiply your exponents. Okay, so now 4 and 8. 4 divided by 8. Well, 8 can't go into 4, but I can simplify this fraction. 4 will go into 4 one time. 4 will go into 8 2 times. Okay? A lot of you make the mistake of just putting 2 on top. It's not. The bigger number was on bottom, right? Here you're just simplifying the fraction. And then for my m's, I have 8 on top, 2 on the bottom. 8 minus 2 is 6. So your answer is m6 over 2. Okay. Alright. Looking for perimeter and the area. And so area is when we add up all the sides. And this is a rectangle. So the widths are the same and the lengths are the same. So all we're going to do, these two have the same variable and exponent, so we have 10 of those. 10a squared b squared plus we have 6 of the ab squares. Okay, I'm adding all these up, so I'm not combining like I'm not adding exponents, okay? And I can only combine ones that have the same variable and exponents. All right, area is length times width, so it's going to be these two multiplied. All right, so 5 times 3 is 15. A squared times a to the first is a. We're multiplying. Each of them have a base, so we're adding the exponents, so it's a cubed. All right, and then the b's, they both have base, so we add the exponent, and it'll be b6. All right. This one, we're not going to do perimeter because you would have to know this side measurement and those that would involve Pythagorean theorem. I challenge some of you. There's some of you out there that I know could figure that. Doing your you'd have to use Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. I tell you what, some of you, if you will text me or take a picture of your work showing me how you got the answer, I'll give you some extra points, okay? All right, so let's just do area. So this is a trapezoid, so it's going to be 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times height. So 1/2. So let's add our bases together. There's 18 of them, right? 18a squared b times your height, 3ab. So this is going to be 1/2. 18 times 3 is what? 3 times 8 is 24, 54. And a squared times a to the first, add your exponents, a cubed. B times b is b squared. Visible ones, add your ones. And then half of that, you just take half of 54, and that's going to give you 27 a cubed b squared. All right, good deal. Let me see how much. All right, I'm going to. Okay, we're at 20 minutes. I'm going to stop there and do a part 3. All right, stay tuned.